First want to thank Lance for the opportunity to be here tonight and just kind of go over some things with the core velocity belt. Just a quick story about the core velocity belt. I met Lance a couple years ago over at the other old Next Level, and we started going through some stuff. He invited me over and he hooked me up to this old, like, I think it might have been Adidas, I don't know, it might have been like Craftsman, I don't know, belt one day on a Friday afternoon in December, and he had me like throwing off this mound, and I'm like, Lance, I'm an old man, I'm getting old, like this is, but after I was done, I was like, holy cow, my hips, I'm like, they're moving, I feel them, like this is incredible. So Lance said, hey, why don't you take one and try it out with your pitchers at Vanderbilt and provide some feedback and stuff and see how they like it. And you know, for the last 3 years or so, it's been pretty much a staple in our program. We do a lot of work with it, you know, as far as activation. We do a lot of work, you know, off the mound with it. I'm a huge believer that if you want to do some work, you need to do it off the mound. All right, I'm not talking about crazy volume and that, but we pitch off the slope, you know. And for me to understand how stuff from a flat ground translates, I think guys can really feel things differently on the slope, and that's really the overall objective of anything that we do with our pitchers at Vanderbilt, is just figuring out, can you feel this?
All this stuff that you're going to see today is just, I didn't read it in a book or something. You just get in there and you just try to do different things. So I live off this one premise that I got from guys like Paul Nyman and Brent Strom and Derek Johnson. But I heard this quote a while back, and this is kind of how I operate. Results are a direct reflection of how you use kinetic energy. So it's not potential, it's not anything else, it's how this young man is using his kinetic energy down the mound. And that's what I love about the belts, guys, and why we use them. We use them every day in some form or fashion.
And been using Lance as a resource for probably 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. What prompted you to invest in the core velocity belt when you first did?
Just knowing how much Lance is at the forefront of developing pitchers and seeing the guys that he worked with and speaking with a few of those. And once he introduced the core velocity belt, talking about the gains that these guys have made, I immediately said, hey, I'm coming to Nashville. I want to see this in motion and see it work for guys.
Yeah, and what's been your experience after getting the belt and putting it into practice? What's been your experience with it?
Yeah, so once I got an understanding from Lance and seeing how he's developed guys with the belt, I've immediately, whether I was at Mississippi State or now at Auburn, immediately one of the first things I've done in the first month as a head coach at Auburn is getting 10 of these belts and getting our guys acclimated to it. The belts have done a great job of not only seeing some strength gains and the peer pressure that's supplied has really helped our arms, but it's a great tool also. What I've seen, one of the biggest benefits is direction, creating direction for a pitcher or helping them store energy and stay over the rubber for a little bit longer.